So let's talk post journey. So what have you noticed since coming out of that experience, and what has changed for you either in your personal life or in your business?
So remember how I said my intention was to move through life more through my heart rather than my head. So I would always find myself overthinking how, conversations go and making, oh, I hope I didn't say the wrong thing to offend them and all that kind of thing. So it did actually make my social life, I guess, I wouldn't say I had social anxiety, especially because of the business I'm in, with the networking group. I have learnt to deal with it, but it was still something that held me back a little bit. And I think it felt like I had these invisible walls up when I was meeting people. And I could never, as much as I wanted to pull those walls down and connect deeply with others, but I just didn't know how. So the day that I got back, I took Indy to a play center, right? And at the play center, she found a little friend, from her daycare. He was just randomly there. And then I got chatting with his mum. Previously, I would normally be like, I don't want to be sitting here chatting to someone I don't really know. I'd rather be in my own energy. But this was so different. And this was the first inkling that the medicine has actually really shifted my entire life on its axis. I was so into the conversation. I felt so free. The walls were gone. I felt like the brake had been taken off, and I felt finally free just to be myself, not to overthink things, not to worry too much. And that has been one of the biggest blessings from the healing, is just being more true to myself and being okay if people don't like me, and just out of my head and into my heart.
You and I, we can be extroverted, but we're actually quite introverted as well. And we really do enjoy intimacy, small containers, one-on-one, or even just by ourselves. Yeah. And I can resonate so much with what you're saying, is not wanting to make that small talk. And then I think to myself, what came through is that partially, not fully, but is that partially us being afraid to be seen and being open, right? So it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to someone that I may not potentially have a deeper, meaningful relationship with. Like, why would I waste my time? I'm kind of like that school pick up and drop off, run in, run out, And I've been working on making more of an effort, because I'm like, do people think I'm a snob? Because I'm not wanting to, I don't think I'm better than anyone. It's just, yeah, if I were to really go in just based on what you said, maybe it's just like more a protection thing than anything else. So
yeah, definitely.
That's a big change.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's something that I've wanted to shift for a long time. And I feel like finally I'm like, thank you. And I knew my soul was calling me towards that for a long time. And so now, obviously, healing that part of me that never felt like I fit in, I feel like I have an innate sense of belonging now. I feel really whole within me. So obviously the business now is taking a bit of a shift, because I built Fusion from the place of an unhealed little girl. So I built it because I never felt like I fit in. So I built a community for women who can come and bring their true self and feel like, they're fully accepted no matter what, no judgment. That's what the Fusion ethos is all about. And so building it from a place of, I suppose, trying to fix what was broken within me or unhealed within me. Now coming out, I don't resonate as much with that messaging and that ethos, because I have healed that, right? And so now I get to build the business from a place of abundance, from a place of wholeness, from a place of being healed. And it feels so much freer now. And so there's shifts coming. By the time this podcast is out, I would have announced that we're changing or evolving the brand, and we're dropping, so it was Fusion Biz Co, now we're known as Fusion Australia. And, over the evolution of the next 6 or 12 months, we'll be introducing more intimate containers. We're shifting the brand essence to be more high frequency networking. And so there's just a lot of integration still happening. It's only been 2 months. Oh, 2 months? No, 3 months since the medicine. And there's still, there's still parts being integrated. And yeah, I feel like I'm building from a place of abundance and a place of wholeness, which is not something that I've experienced before. So
that's so exciting. And I think that's a perfect explanation of that journey there, because yeah, like even as you were saying, what Fusion Biz Co, the core essence of it was like you're included. Well, you're included so that you don't feel unincluded, right? So it's trying to heal those around you. It wasn't necessarily even coming from your core wound. Now you're like, I know how you feel. My empathy, my heart knows how you feel. I will create a container for you to feel safe in. And now you're going to a next level where you're like, you're healed. You're witnessing your community, and you're like, look, you're healed. You know you're welcome, and now it's for you. You're ready for your next elevation. Oh my gosh, I just got tingles everywhere.
I love how you mirrored that back to me, because yes,
that's exactly what
yes.
I could feel it. I could feel it. And I've been witnessing you on this journey as well. And I think with business owners, people see what we choose to show them, like online, but like I know you behind the scenes, so I know your evolution behind the scenes. So this is very much a match to where you are going and like the big vision for the business. And so I'm so excited for you. I feel like I went through a similar journey. I started with trauma, helping people with trauma. Why? Because I knew what it felt like to have trauma. And so I worked on my trauma, and I was like, look, your life will be so much better when you heal your trauma. Let me help you heal your trauma. And now it's like, oh, you've healed your trauma. Let me get you to the next. Let's create a different self-concept. We're going to create a new self-identity. You are the queen. You are that. You are the prize. It's just like the evolution of it. And it's so exciting because we've very much been on this journey together.
We have. That's incredible. It's so true. But
2021, wasn't it, when we first connected?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny because, there's always that core essence of what the business is. Mine is all about connecting women. Yours is all about, emotional intelligence. So we still have that core essence of our business, but it evolves and grows as we do. And that's why I fully believe your business won't grow until you grow. Your business will only grow to the capacity that you grow. And so that's why being in the field that we're in, I think we both know we need to continue to grow and evolve. And yeah, it's Fusion will have been around for 10 years next year. And I really feel like we're just getting started. And with my beautiful girls, I'm like bringing them along for the ride, and I'm creating this legacy for them as well,
Yeah, and I think what's super inspiring is that they're getting to see their mom go chase their dreams, because that's essentially how we're going to teach our girls or our boys or whoever, our children, to follow their dreams. Our kids don't hear our words, they see our actions, they feel our energy. So I always say to women, you can tell your kids all day long, be confident, you can do anything you want. But if you're miserable, if you lack confidence, if you're not chasing dreams, they'll be like, but mom, you didn't. At the end of the day, they're going to follow your footsteps, not your words. And so I feel like you're being an amazing example to them of what choosing yourself really is. And I feel like, yeah, I'm so excited for your journey, babe, and where you're going with the business and with your life, and the courage that it took to make the decisions that you have made leading up to this, and saying, you know what, I deserve more, I want more, I'm calling in more, and having the courage to go for it is huge.
Absolutely. And I feel like, with the whole, you can't deny that things are changing on Earth. There's a whole new frequency coming through. And I think that there gets to be a point where you have no choice. You're going to be kicked to do these things, because you can't keep living in those low density emotions any longer. And so now, obviously, I've made the hardest choice that I'll probably ever have to make in leaving my marriage. And now from here on out, anything that doesn't add to my life or match my frequency, then I'm sorry, but it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to throw a completely random question just because this came through for me, and this is nothing to do with us, but just our, views on kind of what's happening in the world. there's been a lot of shifts happening in like the coaching world and things being brought to the light. And I feel like a lot of people the world is expecting more from coaches, and they're holding them accountable for things, and like asking them basically to justify, why are you charging $5,000 or $8,000 or $20,000 or $50,000? And some coaches are not living or walking with integrity or living what they teach. And I feel like there is, like you were talking about, a shift. I feel like there's a shift happening in our space right now. And I feel like this is the opportunity for a lot of people who really come from a place of service and genuinely want to serve, for us to show up and be authentic and be grounded. What have you observed any of this, or is this in my own little container of the internet?
I definitely think there's a shift in terms of also with the AI coming through. You know, we have ChatGPT as our therapist and our coach, and we can work through a lot of things in there. But I do feel like the shift that I'm seeing mostly, and why I still invest in coaching, is because I'm investing in that person's frequency. I'm investing for the upgrade in myself, because I believe proximity is the fastest way to get where you need to go. And so for me, it's not, like solve this problem for me. It's like, okay, how does your level of consciousness think about this problem that I'm facing?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, because you brought in like what I think is the most important piece, and it's the energetics piece. So if you are a high level coach, like let's say, for example, hypothetically, this person is, I'm trying to get my business to 7 figures. That person is already at 7 figures. They know how to handle 7-figure business problems. So therefore, if I go to them, it's their level of consciousness on the problems that are they're above those problems, so they can help me. So I agree with you 100% on that. And I think where the world is kind of waking up, and where we're just have so much access through AI, but also through just cameras, and it's hard to hide who you truly are, right? So more and more people, I think, are we're getting to see who people truly are. So if I'm going to coach you in regards to a relationship, then you're, from the premise that we just spoke about, you are investing with me because you want my consciousness around and knowledge around relationships to serve you. But then what if I'm not acting with integrity? What if I haven't had the results? And I think that's what people are talking about, is like, you're coaching, let's say, on spirituality, on consciousness, but you're living a very unconscious life, or you're teaching on relationships, but you're living a very unethical or immoral life. I think this is what's being brought to the light right now, which I feel like is kind of collectively happening on Earth, is that a lot of things that were hidden are being shown. Have you seen any of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we are moving, this is so funny, and it ties back into when you spoke at the Fusion World Entrepreneur Day, and we talked about going from 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness. And you explained it so beautifully, is like things are starting to speed up. We're starting to feel more. We're starting to know more. We're starting your third eye is starting to be activated. So anytime, we're going to invest in someone, or we're even learning from someone on social media, right? We're going to be able to feel how embodied they are in their message. We're going to know, if they are walking the talk and actually living that, because we're going to feel it. And if not, it's just going to be unfollow.
Yes.
And so I think, yeah, you're right. There's no hiding in the growth and the phase that the earth is in with the new earth. I even made a post about this recently, about Dolores Cannon's work on the new earth, where we are moving into that consciousness, those higher levels now. And I think there's no place to hide, which is why you can't not be doing the work, the inner work. Otherwise, life is going to get really hard.
Yes. Oh, I love that. You explained that so well. And I think it also points to stop putting, and this is something I want to talk a lot more at some time about, is like putting people on a pedestal, because at the end of the day, they're still human. Sometimes we look at these people and we are shocked by, what they're actually doing behind the scenes. but they're human, and you wouldn't be so shocked and offended and horrified if you hadn't put them on a pedestal. So I think a sign of like a good coach, a good leader, is they make you feel important. A manager or a dictator makes them feel important. So if I'm in your presence, do I feel important? I do, because you make me feel important. That's a leader, right? And I think we're moving away from this space in the online world, especially where back in the days,
When I was a girl.
when I was a girl, so like, you know, in like the like late 2010s type thing, before 2020, or even maybe in 2020, the influencer world, it was like, if you looked beautiful and you could show me a day in the life of, like, you could really succeed. And same thing, if you had a really good funnel and you could share some testimonials, like, you could get some good results as a business coach. Whereas now I feel like the market is quite saturated. Not that there isn't opportunity, there's always opportunity, but people aren't just following people that have, I actually was watching a TikTok on this today, is that people are following less of like camera roll content. So that content like, hey, this is me getting my kids ready for school, or this is me baking a cake. People actually want to know what's in it for them first. So like leading with value first. So it's going back to how can I serve versus look at me. It's look at you versus look at me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the difference, is like coming in and providing value. And I think we're going to see a lot of the content creators or the coaches, and we're seeing a lot of it, of who is truly here to serve and who, you know, probably needs to just go reassess their motives a little bit. Not that they don't have a beautiful gift and they are probably so wise and have so much to offer this world. But like you said, I think people are feeling into more and more, this person is not, something feels off. And I would really encourage our listeners to lean into that, because you have discernment, especially as a woman. One of the feminine powers is discernment. And how often do we not lean into our intuition and our discernment? And we would have done that in our 20s in the relationship choices that we made, because we were going more logical. We're just not the women we are today. So
yeah, exciting times. I feel like the next 5 years will be very interesting to watch what happens in that space in the online world, because it is so saturated, but also because it's about to get even more saturated with AI, and even with, you know, the AI video versions of people. What are they called? I don't even know what they're called.
Avatars.
The avatars, yes. And how quick we can do things now, and how quick we can create content is going to drown out a lot of people, I think. So I'm interested to see. I'm worried for certain people and professions. And I think we need to really, if you're not already looking at that, people really need to start looking at how they can make themselves more valuable, I guess.
To your point about it changing in the next 5 years, I agree. I feel like there's anyone that's trying to predict with certainty of what's going to happen, like, it's a shot in the dark. We have no clue. And with those videos, the avatar videos, we're in the infancy of AI, and they're already looking pretty good. I mean, you can tell that it's not perfect. The words are slightly off, but to think of where it could go. And I think if anything that we can learn from what's happening with AI is the importance of personal brand, personal identity, and humanness. Because one thing that AI does not have the ability to do is feel. That's the only thing. It can intellectualize a feeling, but it cannot actually feel. That is innately human. So I think that the creators and the business people that will succeed into the future will know how to incorporate AI. But then I think it's businesses like yours that people are going to gravitate towards, because at the end of the day, we can scroll for hours and not feel any connection at all. Yeah. But yet when we have our mastermind, we feel so lit up, right? Yeah. So it's those things that I think we really actually need to lean on to keep that humanness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think half an hour of in-person connection is equal to 10 hours of online connection with someone, right? So I think, and because our time is being freed up more with AI, we do have more time. We just need to make sure that we're filling it with the right things that are actually going to feed our soul. So are we living more into our purpose? Are we doing things that light us up? Most importantly, are we making the time and effort to connect with our friends? And are we being discerning with who we're connecting with as well? And that's where fusion comes into the picture, for a little plug, if you're looking to get around more of that high frequency thinking, are you intentionally going out to find circles that match who you want to be? I think all of that is going to come into play. And yeah, that's why I'm really excited, because I think being in the business of human connection, that it's going to be well placed.
Yeah, it's so important. I think it is the one thing that we need moving forward, especially as business owners, is that human connection. And like you said, getting in the room. It's something that people always say, and it's repeatedly said because it's true. Sometimes we lose the gravity of what people are saying because it's said so often. But it truly is. It's getting in the room of, when I talk to someone that's a lot more successful than me, for some reason, something happens in my brain where I walk away thinking, that person is actually not that different from me. Like, that person was just a really beautiful, smart, whatever person, but like I can be all those things too if I wanted to, right? Like, and it becomes believable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It becomes believable. So when you borrow someone's belief, and that's what I always talk about, is borrowing someone else's belief if you don't have it yet. And that's essentially what a coach is. You borrow their energy, you borrow their belief, you borrow their embodiment until you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I think there's still definitely a place for coaches, and I think there always will be.
Ash, I've loved this conversation. I honestly feel like it was the tip of the iceberg of what we could have talked about, but I really just wanted to bring you back on the show to share your evolution, and especially I'm glad that we did it at a time where you're still in this transition, because I want to encourage other women to follow your example in choosing themselves.
Yeah.
Because you're an embodiment of that right now. So going back to that soul purpose that you're talking about, how everyone comes with it, you're living it, girl. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it so much. And honestly, so grateful for you and our friendship. And I hope people took something away from this, because it is raw and it is, I haven't really shared it elsewhere. So if you're listening, just remember that, you are important, and it's okay to choose yourself, because I truly do believe that what is for your highest good is going to be for everyone else's highest good as well.
Love that. Thank you so much, my love.
Thanks, babe.